All right, I want to mentor you in becoming a deal maker. So, what we're going to go over today is how you can master the art of high level negotiations and architect opportunities that command $100,000 months. So, this is for beginners and intermediate marketers and sales professionals looking to go from low five figures a month to six figures plus a month and transition into becoming a world class deal maker capable of closing $100 million plus deals. My name is Louis Carrose. I am the founder of Cadenwood Group and Capital, as well as Dealmaker. And I'm recording this from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. Now, before you book in a call to speak with my team, once you are finished watching through this video, I kind of just want to transparently go through all of the facts and details about the Dealmaker Genesis program, including who this is for, what the associated costs are, what it takes, timelines, and how this mentorship program could be your catalyst for six-figure months. This is no bullshit. It's not a VSL. It's not a sales letter. I'm really just here to give you the facts so you can make a logical decision as to whether or not we're going to work together. So why does Genesis exist? Now, my main program, Dealmaker Foundry, is now what I've termed it as, which is the mainstream program of Dealmaker. It teaches capital advisory, investment banking, how to close capital and raise capital for companies, for growth stage companies, for startups, as well as structuring M&A deals. Now, students in that program, they routinely close deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I can just go in like this. You can see here, this is Connor. Connor closed a $108 million real estate deal. This was back in, I believe, May of 2025. Jamal, he closed the first $100 million of he closed the first $10 million of a $100 million raise that he earned 5% on. This is a deal that we are in deep diligence for, $500 million. This is actually turning into $1 billion. For one of our clients at Cadenwood. But here's the thing, if you don't have the prerequisite marketing skills or sales skills, it's an incredibly steep learning curve in order for you to go into the capital advisory space. Not to mention, I've increased the entry fee to $100,000 US. Beginners normally can't jump straight into Foundry and see success. They need the foundational skills first, which is why Genesis exists. So the most important function in any business, when you boil it down to its core fundamental constituent parts, what they are at the end of the day is a sales and marketing organization. Any business is that. If you don't have these functions, the business is not a business. It does not make money. The largest transactions on the planet are conducted by deal makers. Deal makers are, at their core, sales and marketing professionals. And the easiest way to become wealthy is through advisory and then becoming a principal. But in order to do that, you first need to become a master negotiator, a master marketer, capable of generating interest for any deal, and the sales ability to structure and close. You then take those skills, you move up market to advise companies that are later stage, growth stage, mature stage, and even beyond. And you advise them on larger transactions where you can charge higher upfront fees in addition to taking success fees, which is obviously what the capital advisory model is. But there's a whole plethora of advisory services that you can offer to the marketplace. And then obviously from there, you eventually become a principal. So what does that mean? It means you doing the deals for yourself, doing M&A, being a strategic acquirer, going out, raising a private equity fund, taking companies public. There's a whole slew of things that you can do as a principal, and that is truly where the mechanism of wealth creation lies. That is the logical trajectory for a deal maker. Now, if we define deal making, it is the strategic art and science of identifying, creating, and consummating mutually beneficial agreements between parties through a combination of market positioning, value communication, and skilled negotiation. A deal maker is an architect of opportunity, an individual, regardless of scale, from multiple trillion-dollar international trade pacts to modest B2B transactions. They're masters of dual disciplines of marketing and sales to forge alignment of interests, navigate complex dynamics, and structure agreements that unlock value for all stakeholders. Now, obviously, that was incredibly verbose. All I'm saying here is, at the core fundamental thesis of what a deal maker is, all that person is someone who knows how to masterfully negotiate and how to generate interest for a specific deal or a specific transaction that you then go and close. It's dualistic. So why does traditional sales and marketing training fail at this level? You're not going to learn deal making from a sales coach. They teach objection handling, future pacing, closing techniques, tactics that work for low markets, but fail when you move up market. And at this level, it's not about overcoming resistance. It's about demonstrating clear competence that executives trust you, the individual. It's about belief in yourself, transmuting that through every interaction until the other party knows knows, not thinks, you can deliver. Most marketing agency and growth operator teachers rarely touch six-figure transactions. When you try to apply small deal tactics to big deals, you look amateur. And in this game, perception is everything. Now, the foundation. Most marketers obsess over tactics, mechanisms, copy, etc. The offer is what determines everything. Selling something that people want is infinitely easier than forcing people to buy what you happen to be selling at that given time. So in the Genesis program, we start by creating offers that position you as one of one, no competition. When your offer is right, everything else becomes easier. Now, another key thing that I want to get across here is the paradox of deal size. Here's what most people don't understand. Closing a $2,000 deal often takes more effort than closing a $100,000 deal. Why? Because when you operate with the right altitude, with the right positioning, with a higher payoff to the counterparty, larger deals have cleaner processes, more sophisticated buyers, and faster decisions. Small deals involve more convincing, more back and forth, and more friction. Genesis teaches you how to operate where deals are bigger, but closings are smoother. Now here's Fabian. Fabian is 17 years old. He goes to school, high school, wearing an AP. He closes $150,000 upfront engagements. Now, direct mentorship. The first tenet of the Genesis program is direct mentorship. So you are going to get direct access through one-on-one booking links, my personal phone number, and I'm going to be the person who's going to guide you through all of this material. So at the age of 28 years old, I built an investment bank. I'm currently stepping away from it. I placed the team, placed the systems, and I'm moving on to create my private equity fund. I'm currently in R&D with my mentor, identifying what the thesis is going to be. We're currently closing a $1 billion deal that will bring in $50 million to the firm this year. I've taught hundreds of students and created multiple millionaires. My students are closing 8 and 9 figure deals, some in diligence for $1 billion deals in addition to that. Now, I want to stress this. This is not a course. This is one-on-one mentorship with direct access to myself, all of the individuals at my holding company, in addition to advisors that I have within my ecosystem that are going to be advisors to you and your firm. My top students, my entire ecosystem, you're going to be plugged into everything. Obviously, the community, the curriculum, and the network are included in that. So access is the most important part of this program. Without someone telling you exactly what to iterate on, where you went wrong, and how you can course correct in real time, you're not going to be able to achieve the level of velocity that's necessary in order for you to achieve $100,000 months in literally 90 days. And I'm going to tell you about a case study on how we achieved this with a 19-year-old in just a second here. The next thing is creating goldmine offers. We build offers with high torque. So here's what this means. We use supply and demand arbitrage. We're finding underserviced market segments where few or no other marketers or salespeople operate. We want to find something unique, not another Me Too offer. The next thing is upmarket position. We want to be able to charge clients $10, $15, $20, $30,000 retainers, sometimes $50,000 without them complaining about the ticket price because they understand the value and they have the cash flow to support those kind of expenditures on marketing. We want clients that can actually afford it because they're selling themselves services or products that are 6 figures plus per engagement for themselves. The higher the ticket, the better, obviously, right? That's why Capital Advisory works so well, is because you are literally selling money. You're selling millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. The ticket price of what you are delivering is massive. So we want to find something like that, but in a pocket of the market that's underserviced that not a lot of people know about, okay? Like, let me give you an example. Shipping. Every single one of these ships that's out here in the harbor right now, currently, there's about $2 or $3 billion sitting out in the harbor. Every single time one of those ships goes from Vancouver over to Hong Kong, it's $100 million to ship. And it costs them maybe a few $1 million in fuel to do it. Their margins are massive. So here's what I'm trying to get you to realize. You can find something like that. When have you ever heard of a marketer going out and targeting a shipping line to secure them contracts with logistics companies or oil and gas companies? Who's taught you how to do that? That's what you need to find, because you're not going to run into any competition when you're doing that. And every single time one of these things leaves, one trip, one contract will be worth hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue to the company. That's what you want to be looking for. And the next thing is the high leverage. So you want high leverage in your ability to fulfill. So if I were to go out to a shipping line, to a shipping company, how would I do it? I would send emails and LinkedIn messages. The level of effort that it would take in order for me to set up something that would be effective in generating the result would be incredibly low friction, low effort, low commitment on my end. I have tremendous amounts of leverage in doing so. There's low energy expenditure when I'm doing that, but a massive, massive impact. But the thing is, companies like a shipping line won't know to do that. They have guys that are generating contracts for them that are either going to conferences, cold calling people, or working through network. They don't have this scale of online marketing. which is where the arbitrage comes in and why you are actually going to be able to provide value. The next thing is the process. So how do we figure that out? Like, I just came up with that shipping thing on the fly. But what you're going to do is you're going to come up with 10 ideas just like that. And you're going to test all 10 of them literally at the exact same time. And whichever one you have the most response with, that's the one that you're going to triple down on. So the next thing is top of funnel attraction. So I already went over this. Top of funnel attraction is how to generate interest for an offer. That's it. There's only two ways that you're going to do this. It's either through inbound, running ads, or through outbound. But the thing is, both of these mechanisms are very fluid in how they evolve. Like outbound, for instance, the cold email space will evolve literally on a weekly basis. There's going to be something new that you need to know in order to have an edge over everybody else. But if you're not plugged in, you're not going to be able to have that edge. Your cost will rise, your emails won't inbox, and you simply won't have the necessary advantage for that arbitrage to make sense. Okay, so that's what we're going to be going over as the second tenet: how to generate attention. The next is deal table negotiations. So forget about future pacing, forget about objection handling, tonality, like none of this shit fucking matters. As a matter of fact, when trained closers try selling to executives or companies that are over $50 million, like past the startup phase or small business phase, they flop because they don't understand that sales at this level operates on a completely different principle. So here's the core paradigm. You need altitude. Altitude means you're operating at a higher level, not beneath them. This fundamentally is why most of you are incapable of doing this. You want to have the correct positioning. And if you don't have the right positioning, then you're not going to be able to transfer competence to the other person on the other side of the phone and get them to believe that you're actually capable of doing whatever it is that you're on the call saying that you're going to do, even though you haven't done it before. Because I'll tell you right now, if I got on the phone with a shipping line, I'd be able to sell them. I'd be able to figure it out. The next thing is the right perception. So I tied into this already, but your firm needs to appear legitimate right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, you need to make it seem like you've been around for a decade. You need to have the gravitas that people are going to take you seriously. Because if you come out like a fucking marketing agency, it's not going to work. No chance. So at this level, sales is simply perception and positioning. Like that is it. And then you believing that you are capable of doing the job yourself. You have to sell yourself first, and the rest comes relatively simply. The rest comes easy because like sales at this level is literally just a logical conversation. You don't need a script. You don't need shit. It's a logical, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it. That's it. Graduating. So what do you do once you're making $100,000 a month? Well, there's a few things that you can do. You can assemble a board of directors. Okay. You can optimize your structure. You can optimize your tax planning. You can develop systems, place the right team, remove yourself from operations. The next thing that you could do is you could graduate. You could move into the next Dealmaker program that we have, where we focus on larger transactions, where we work on capital advisory and investment banking deals. The other thing that you could do is you could exit the company that you just built. Like if you build a cash flowing business with 90% margins within 6 months and you show steady month over month growth, you have the systems and you place the team, you could easily sell that business for $1 million, couple $1 million. A lot of people don't think of this. But the reason why most agencies won't sell is because they don't have the right systems, they don't have the right people, and moreover than that, they don't have the right moat. You can't sell a marketing agency that is selling to, real estate agents that's doing $100,000 a month and, because it's such a competitive space, you're really only doing $15,000, $20,000 a month profit. No one's going to buy that. Not going to happen. So those are the things that you can do when you graduate. Now, you can piece all of this together. There's guys that have watched my free stuff on Twitter, on YouTube, and they come back to me saying that they've, closed a deal or they're doing, $30,000 a month, 50,000, 100,000. Happens all the time, people reaching out to me. You can do that, or you can work with me in the Genesis program and compress years or many months into a few months. Choice is yours. Now, the investment is $5,000. I'm likely only going to take on 30 people, maybe less. I'm going to get that filled within 2 weeks. And then we're going to increase the price to $12,500. The reason why I'm doing a higher ticket for a beginner program is because I only want to work with a few people. I don't want to work with hundreds of people. The other thing is, if we give this information to hundreds, thousands of people, like if we went mass market with it, it would stop working. So we want to keep it relatively tight knit. We want the quality to be preserved, and we want there to be exclusivity. The other thing is, when we create a very tight-knit community, there's something that really interesting happens when you have a new group of people that come together all with a very focused common goal. I'd say the velocity of progression amongst all of those people is greater than if you jump into a program where there's tons of people and the focus is not fully there. So the next thing is, what do you get? So you get direct access to me, you get full access to my team, like I already said. There's the community, there's the peer learning. I'm gonna have a full program put together for this. And for context, right? Jack started working with me in March. He's made a 16x ROI in 90 days by joining the program. So he said, I mean, you can read this. I'm going to leave the video for this case study below, along with some other testimonials that you can watch. Essentially, he came to me. He was essentially at zero. He was losing money on all of his email and tech stack costs. He was working commission-only deals that stretched out 8 to 10 months. He's getting stiffed on payments. I think when he started with me, he was at like $5,000 in revenue a month. 4 months later, in July, I just finished speaking with him. He collected $80,000 in cash. He's over $100,000 in revenue. In June, he was $44,000 net profit for himself, taking into consideration the fact that he bought himself a Rolex and he went on several trips. So he's on track to doing $500,000, $1 million a year in profit at 19 years old. Now, the biggest thing for him was the mental shift. He wasn't confident. He didn't have that internal stuff of magic that you need in order to make this kind of sales work. And I gave him some very clear tactics and some very, minor, but very, very powerful mental shifts that he implemented. And this was enough for him to start selling to executives and stop being afraid of getting on the call. So next thing here is obviously touching on positioning change. So again, perception is reality. If what you're doing if what you're doing as the channel to achieve a result is sending emails, you don't say that you're sending emails. You say that it's demand generation. You work with SMEs. You have a team of advisors around you that have experience in a specific industry. All right. You can watch the interview to get more information, but the main thing here is when you understand these marketing channels that I'm going to teach you, the skill that you have and the value that you're able to provide to these companies is absolutely invaluable, because they are used to spending millions of dollars on marketing that doesn't generate that much leverage for dollars in, dollars out. They're used to just wasting money. But when you're able to bring them this level of this level of leverage, and you can prove that to them, they're going to be willing to pay mid 5 figures to work with you, along with success fees. So the trajectory is clear. All right. He started at zero. He's at $100,000 a month within 4 months. He is now at the point where he's transitioning out of his agency. He's building his team. He's building all of his systems, and he's going to be moving on to what's next, which again, I already covered what the different paths you can take are. So next thing is diligence questions. So you're going to need about $1,000 a month in software cost minimum. That's in addition to the entrance fee for Genesis. The truth is, this is going to require ruthless dedication, and moreover than anything else, you evolving as a person. It's not about the tactics, okay? It's more so about you taking all the principles that I share with you, you internalizing them, you shifting your mental models. And when you do this, you can take away all of the external results, put yourself in a new situation, and you're going to be able to generate results for yourself. That's really what we're trying to accomplish here, because those skills and that internal belief is what's going to drive you and carry you throughout the rest of your life. Whether you continue down this like linear path of deal making that I've set forth here, or you decide to go on and do something else, this will be invaluable for you for the rest of your life. Next thing is competition. So there's hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other agencies out there. We don't even want to put ourselves in the same category as them. We don't want to have anyone view what we do as similar to anything else, which is the reason why we need to find a one of one. We don't want to compete with anyone. It's far easier to be first than it is to be right, or it is to have the best product. It's easier to be first. So that's what we're looking to do here. Time frame. So $0 to $100,000 in 3 months. That's an outlier result. I'm not saying that if you join the program, that's going to happen for you. It can happen to you if you apply everything, but by no means am I guaranteeing that that's going to happen. I have many students that have done it. It all comes down to really your ability to execute and your ability to evolve as a person, and your willingness to face that uncomfort head on, face the challenges head on, because that determines your worthiness of glory in God's eyes. So the tactics are very straightforward. The implementation is where people separate themselves. Now, my promise to you is if you compare yourself to who you were yesterday, constantly evolve, maintain unwavering belief, take ruthless action, and hold the intention that you are going to get there, you will get there. Whether it takes 90 days or 9 months, it depends on you. But if you follow the system and do the work, the outcome is inevitable. So you know what to do. You're going to go down, you're going to book a call in, you're going to be speaking with Fred most likely. Fred is one of my right-hand associates. He knows everything about all the Dealmaker programs. He is an absolute savage. This is not a sales call. We're going to be giving you the information that you will need in order to determine whether we're going to work together. That goes beyond what you've learned here today. So come with questions. And if we don't believe you are a right fit for this, we're not going to take you on. Because remember, I'm trying to keep this as tight-knit as possible. So I hope to see you in the program if you are a right fit. If not, then keep watching the material on Twitter, on YouTube. You can reach out to me with questions if you wish. I'm more than happy to help. I'll see you next time.